For the money, this is the best compact luxury SUV you can buy. It is aggressively priced, cheaper than a lot of the other European luxury brands, and you'll find that they didn't really cut any corners. If you're shopping around for a luxury compact crossover, do not skip on the Volvo XC40. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thank you so much for tuning in, and for this video, you find me sitting in the 2020 Volvo XC40 T5 all-wheel drive R design. And I'll tell you my likes and dislikes about this car so you have a better idea before you go to the dealership, take it out for a test drive, and before you buy. Let's get started. Let's first discuss the exterior of the Volvo XC40. This XC40 is built on Volvo's compact modular architecture, or CMA for short, which means that it's shared with the new Polestar 2 and other Geely compact sedans and SUVs. Basically, the distance between the front axle and the firewall is the same for all these vehicles. Only the lengths, the heights, overhangs, and ground clearances change. As for the body of the XC40, visually it's very simple, it's reserved, and it's also timeless. I think this will age very gracefully on your driveway, just like all modern Volvos. It has very distinctive styling cues like the split Thor's hammer LED headlights, scalloped panels on the doors, and gorgeous LED taillights. This XC40 comes with the 20-inch wheels, which is a nice blend between sportiness and comfort. You can option out for the more expensive 21-inch wheels, but you'll run an even lower profile tire, which will make the ride a bit harsher. I think 20-inch wheels is a nice compromise. Moving on to the interior, this is where I'm completely in love with the Volvo XC40, and there's a ton to like about it. Let's first discuss the features surrounding the driver, starting with the 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster. It's full color, it's clear, and it's crisp. You can see the map on the center stage here, and there's not a whole lot of unnecessary clutter. The steering wheel is also beautifully upholstered with this very nice leather. It's got very comfortable 9 and 3 positions, nicely textured paddle shifters to control the 8-speed transmission. I'm also a big fan of the steering wheel buttons on here. It's very sleek and minimalistic. The buttons on the right hand side controls the stereo, but when you press the menu button in here, it'll control the menu system on the fully digital instrument cluster. So there's not a whole lot of extra set of buttons to kind of clutter the steering wheel design. These are multifunctional. And on the left hand side is your cruise control and pilot assist set of buttons. The pilot assist system is their hands-on semi-autonomous driving system. It helps with steering, accelerating, and braking. So with pilot assist, you basically have adaptive cruise control system. It can follow gentle curves very nicely, though I do feel that it's a bit robotic sometimes. It generally works pretty well if you have the right set of conditions, like having proper road markers, like proper lanes, and also if the weather is good. The system is going to reduce driver fatigue, especially for those long and boring road trips, but for short commutes, I prefer to keep that off. Moving on to the center console, you find this iPad-like 9-inch touchscreen. This is where you control everything, your stereo system, your navigation, and all of your heated seats and heated steering wheel controls. This system functions a lot better compared to the earlier iterations of this layout. Seems like Volvo has upgraded the guts of the infotainment system because it's a lot zippier and smoother to operate. Scrolling up and down, swiping left and right, it feels like playing with a brand new iPad. I also like this vertical layout because if you plug in your Apple iPhone or Android phone, when you plug it in, you can engage Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and because it's got a vertical layout, you still have elements of the Volvo infotainment system still available. Now, I'm not a big fan of having the heated seats and heated steering wheel controls embedded onto the touchscreen. I understand why they want to do it this way because it keeps the controls very minimalistic and clean design, which is basically the entire theme of this SUV, is to keep things uncluttered, very minimalistic, and very clean. Now, speaking of heated seats, the seats are one of my favorite features of the XC40. It's got great adjustability, it's very supportive, and it also has great leather seating surfaces. And I can't believe how slim these seats actually are. I can't believe seats that are supportive like this actually takes up very little space, which is great because that means that there's more room for the rear passengers. There's also a nice design touch in here. There's a Swedish flag on the passenger seat, which reminds us of the design pedigree and the design intent, even though some of these cars are made in China. As for the switchgear, I'm not a fan of this little nub of a shifter. To put myself into drive, I have to pull back on the shifter twice, and to put myself in reverse, I have to push it forward twice. I think that's excessive because putting yourself into drive or reverse should be one swift motion rather than two. I know that's very nitpicky, but considering that you have to push the P button to put yourself into park, why not just go the extra step and eliminate the shifter entirely and move to a push button style transmission, similar to those found in the Alfa Romeo 4C and also the all-new Hyundai Palisade. That will allow the cabin space to feel even more spacious and even more minimalistic to just remove this. But with all that said, this shifter does feel very nice. I have to give Volvo that. You'll also find some very nice touches in the rest of the center console. There's a flip-up tray here, which looks like an old-school ashtray, but it's actually a place for you to prop your phone, which is very nice. And also back here, you find a trash bin in a car. This will help you maintain that minimalistic and uncluttered look of the XC40. And when it's all full, you can always just open up the armrest and then take this entire thing out and just take off the lid and empty it out. Other really nice touches are the HVAC vents. They look fantastic. And you can find the same design on the second row. And the luxury feel continues back here. There's plenty of legroom. The seating surfaces are just as nice as the front seats. And when you roll back the curtain on the available panoramic moonroof, it makes the back row an even better place to sit in. And when you open up the powered hands-free liftgate, you'll find plenty of cargo space in the back. And in traditional Volvo fashion, there's a cargo divider in here that can also help you secure groceries. Now, what is it like to drive? Well, I'm sitting in the T5 version, which means that it makes 248 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. That's over 60 more horsepower compared to the T4 version. So if you're wondering whether you should go for the T4 or the T5, you should really ask yourself 3 questions. 1, do you like driving? 2, do you need all-wheel drive? And 3, do you not care about mileage? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you should absolutely go with the T5. The difference between 61 horsepower and 37 pound-feet of torque is significant. It's enough to make a difference between just getting you from point A to point B and giving you a big smile while you're going from point A to point B. The T5 also gives you all-wheel drive, so if you live in a more northern climate, then that might be a requirement for you. And because it has all-wheel drive, it also has worse mileage because of the additional drivetrain losses. So the T5 averages about 30 miles per gallon combined, while the T4 can get you 33 combined. Transmission is an 8-speed unit from Aisin. They were the first ones to develop an 8-speed automatic unit for transversely mounted engines that's found in front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles. This unit gives you very quick and very smooth gear shifts. You can toggle between the gears via the paddle shifters or by first pulling back on the shifter and then pushing left or right. As for the XC40, this has awesome ride and handling. This is the R design, which means that it has the sport chassis. All that means is that it has stiffer springs, a thicker roll bar, and also beefier rear suspension. When the road surfaces aren't perfect though, it can feel a bit rough in here. So if you have some pretty rough roads, you're probably better off with the Momentum or the Inscription trim levels. Those offer a better blend between comfort and handling, whereas the R design is more about sporty driving. There are different driving modes in here, and you can toggle through the different drive modes by clicking on this button, and you could choose between comfort, dynamic, eco, and off-road. All it does is it changes how lively the gearbox, the engine, the steering, and the brakes behave. Unfortunately, the XC40 doesn't come with the 4C active chassis or adaptive suspension that you find in other Volvos. The ride is the ride, and that's what you get. So if you want something that's softer, go with the other trims. If you want something sporty, stick with the R design. Of course, you can't forget that there's a huge list of standard safety features in here, and Volvo tries to remind you of that every time you turn on the car. So you've got a long list like lane departure warning, lane keeping aid, collision mitigation, even collision mitigation for pedestrians, cyclists, even large animal detection. You can also option for a 360-degree camera, which will help immensely with parking. Even though this is a small car, every little bit helps. In the end, do I recommend the Volvo XC40? Absolutely. This is my favorite luxury compact SUV. It's got great looks, it's got great capability, and it also looks very modern inside. It's very uncluttered, it's very minimalistic. I actually think that this is a great place to meditate in. With that said, if you've watched this far, please consider doing a couple more things. Please hit that like button down below, hitting that subscribe, and also hitting that notification bell so that you can get notified anytime we make a new video. There's lots of stuff going on the Shifting Lanes channel. We review new cars just like this Volvo XC40, and we also have project cars. So if you're interested in seeing our updates, please consider hitting the subscribe and also hitting that notification bell. I want to wrap it up right there. My name is Hanson. This has been the Volvo XC40 T5 R Design with all-wheel drive, and we'll see you next time.